6 passes and a half, but they lead the game handily.
Morton Anderson will put things in motion for us as we begin the second half. He'll kick off for the Saints. Walter Stanley is the deep middleman for the Packers. He is right at his goal line. A hard driving kick by Anderson, taken about 5 yards deep by Stanley, and he'll come out with it. He's at the 15 and fights his way to the 20-yard line, and that's where the Packers will start this first possession of the second half. Ferragamo, who had mop-up duties, came in for Randy Wright in the first half. Will not start. Right in there now, and looks like he's wearing a rib harness pad.
That's a big one. That's a big rib pad as Randy Wright gets another one. It'll be interesting to see how he reacts to that, being taken out like he was, and now he's being put back in. Forrest Gregg says, you can do it, you can do it.
First and 10 from the 20-yard line. Right to throw. This is Lofton, and he'll have a first down out to near the 35-yard line. So building confidence for Randy Wright. They call a pass on the first play. It's a 14-yard pickup.
And we'll get a good peek at it as the protection was pretty good. You're going to see Lofton in between. Gary was the inside defender there, and Lofton found the hole between the defenders and got the first down. James Lofton as he inches towards Don Hudson's all-time record.
Wright has Jesse Clark and Gary Ellerson behind him in the backfield. That's Epps in motion. The toss to Ellerson behind the Clark block and spins up for about a 7-yard gain. That was about as active coming off the ball as we've seen the Packers all day long. Offensive line and lead backs and running backs.
They took care of the linebackers, Ricky Jackson and Alvin Tolles, both. As you can see, Tolles go down the line trying to make that stop, but there's a lot of traffic there, and he went down, and the Packers were able to get a 7-yard gain out of it. This is a critical series, I think, a drive for Green Bay.
Mark Cannon on that double block. This is Clark. He's hit hard by another one, Bruce Clark, for 75. So Clark to Clark, and the former Green Bay #1 draft choice, who was second in tackles, as you saw last week with 9, makes a good defensive play, and that'll bring up a 3rd and 1.
And he was the player that we were talking to the other day that was the most embarrassed about this game. I guess it's because he's such an ultimate professional. He just said, I'm just so embarrassed the way we play. We got to play better.
Disappointed because he said we worked so hard. It was so frustrating. 3rd and 1. Ellerson behind Hallstrom, and he'll have the first down. Ron Hallstrom on the pull for the kick-out block, and Ellerson was up in behind him. Glenn Redd finally came over to make the stop for New Orleans.
Boy, Hallstrom buried Johnny Poe on that. Those little defensive backs coming up trying to stop those big old guards, and it didn't work, but at least he showed courage up there to face the Hallstrom, who weighs about 280 pounds.
Randy, there's a 100-yard weight difference on those two guys. Hallstrom's 290 and Poe's 190.
And they're going fast on this artificial turf.
It'll be 1st and 10 from the 46. The Packers desperately need points, and they need big ones. This is Wright. It's complete to West, the tight end. Ed West. James Haynes on the defensive play, the outside linebacker.
Del Rio was benched in favor of Tolles here, who goes back here. He sees Ed West, who comes and just pushes off, and Tolles comes back for the tackle. There's not much more that a linebacker can do in that situation when the tight end comes down and just stops and then turns back towards the quarterback. It's a tough job for a linebacker, isn't it, Wayne?
I bet it is. Ed West has vastly improved in his receiving abilities, though, over the past year. 2nd and 3 now. Wright will throw again. And this one is underthrown, intended, I believe, for Epps. Philip Epps near the 40.
James Haynes was putting on the old blitz from the outside, and that really got to Randy Wright. Now you'll see coming from the left side of your screen, you see that Haynes beats the block, and I know that Wright sensed him coming right there, and actually made a little contact when he threw the ball, and that was one of the reasons the pass wasn't all that hot.
3rd down, it remains 3 to go. As you see Haynes on the sidelines with the nickel defense in there now for New Orleans. Out of the shotgun, 6 defensive backs in there for the Saints. Wright off the fingertips of Epps. and nearly intercepted downfield.
Dave Waymer on the coverage, as Epps probably should have had it. I mean, the ball was catchable. It would have been a first down for Green Bay. Waymer on the coverage, and he's playing because Tullis is not here, and the New Orleans Saints don't know where he is. He was a no-show at practice on Friday and on Saturday, and he was supposed to go to the doctor because he had the flu, and they're trying to locate him now.
Don Bracken will kick. Eric Martin deep for the Saints at his 10-yard line. Bracken gets away a beauty. Martin will let it go. It bounces it to 2. And was it saved? Was it saved? Gary Hayes, number 27, was down there on the punt. And it's a touchback. It'll come back to the 20. And we'll be right back. The Packers use nearly 4 minutes, but don't pick up anything on the scoreboard, and it remains 24-3 New Orleans. That was our halftime score, largely due to this young man, who is a native down here, the Cajun Cannon, a high school in South Lafourche, Johnny, and led them to the state championship down here.
Hometown cutoff, Louisiana College, Northwest Louisiana. I'd say he's a Louisiana young man all the way.
He's a local favorite. They say there are more A-Bears in the phone book in cutoff than there are Smiths and Jones. When he was in high school, he said they'd come up and play the city teams around here in New Orleans, and they'd call their signals in French when they got to the line of scrimmage.
I'd like to see him pull that in the NFL, huh?
A nice young man. I tell you, he's into weightlifting. He's big for a quarterback, isn't he? He's got a 1st and 10 here from the 20. Double tight end situation now for New Orleans. Kidlow in motion. Here's a toss to Dalton Hilliard, and he'll get just a couple on a trip around the left side. Flynn over there.
Good tackle by Tim Lewis, too, for the Green Bay Packers.
Bobby Hebert said that, you know, my main problem has been I've had 4 offensive systems in the last 5 years. It's going to be nice to have these guys as coaching staff around for a while and have a system that'll be here for a few years that I can get comfortable with.
Well, that's tough on a quarterback that 4 different years had 4 different systems. You know, everybody's learning, and especially him every different year, terminology and everything.
2nd and 8. Again, it's Hilliard. He'll bounce it out and pick up some yards before a saving stop by John Anderson, and there are penalty markers down. And Hilliard is quick on this turf. He can cut.
Well, that time he was going to cut up into the hole. He thought it was jammed and dipped to the outside and did a nice job. As the Saints overall are playing a pretty conservative football game on offense.
Right, and so with the Packers right now on defense, John, with a 24-3 score, I kind of feel that the only way they're going to get back in this game is to force something like a turnover, take some chances and blitz and go after them. Well, 24-3, you got to be a wild man to get that ball back.
Well, they probably feel that if they blitz a lot with them running, they could really get caught. You know, they're not passing the ball, and
but you can make some big plays.
That's right. Because a blitz really works is sometimes more effective against a run than it is a pass.
And big plays is what they need.
Illegal block, number 88, offense.
Eugene Goodlow, we haven't heard much
10 yards,
from him.
2nd down.
Look at this, 3rd quarter, Philadelphia 3, Chicago nothing. So the 46 defense of Buddy Ryan is working against the Chicago Bears, at least so far.
He probably gave every defensive player on each team a 2 before in that game, and they're out there whacking each other with it.
Mike Ditka and Buddy Ryan both announced before the game they will not shake hands after the game.
Or talk.
Or talk.
10-19 in the 3rd quarter. The clock is moving. It's 2nd down now, 18 to go after that penalty for Hebert. He moves Goodlow from side to side. He's got Dalton Hilliard in the backfield with him. 3 wide receivers. Hebert to throw. It's a screen to Hilliard. 2 blockers in front, and a great defensive play out there by one of the Packers, Brian Noble, was it?
Yes.
91, who split the 2 blockers and made a toughest play you can make as a linebacker, John, is that screen, because you got to get your drop, and you get your pass drop, and you look back, and there's 2 blockers in front of a ball carrier. It's a nightmare for a linebacker, that play.
Okay, also Hilliard decided to cut inside and then go outside there, and that helped Noble in the situation. He has 2 linemen out in front of him. So it looked like Hilliard was going to go upside, and Noble gets buried and still makes the tackle.
We need to do a great job of taking them on, though. You just don't play that screen any better than that. 6 defensive backs. Now 3rd and 17 for the Saints. The Packers have to make something happen. They trail 24-3. Hebert deep drop again. Steps up and risks it. And almost intercepted. Still up in the air. Complete. No. 3 people had a chance for it. 2 Packers, 1 Saint. And it ends up on the ground. That was Mike Jones, number 86. The Saints player who had a chance at it.
And he had the last chance on it. It looked like he was going to make the grab. Now, the thing about Hebert, watch, the pocket kind of gives in on him, but he has a nice little knack of moving forward in the pocket. He throws the pass over, and a whole bunch of Packers had a chance. That's Mossy Cade, 24, and there's the last man that had a chance, and there's just too many people banging around there before the ball hit, and it was just Mike Jones had the last shot at it, but he couldn't quite get it.
Kenny Stills was the first one to have a shot, and he couldn't hang on. Walter Stanley will take this Hansen punt at the 46-yard line. He's across midfield, bounces out, and goes out of bounds just across the 50 at the 48-yard line. A 41-yard punt, a 6-yard division lead. And this year will be no different. They're the teams that each other figure they have to beat. 1st and 10 now for the Packers on the 47, their best field position starting out of the game. And that was right to Ed West, the tight end, for a pickup of just a couple. Ricky Jackson, the linebacker, 57 over on the hit. He's been all over the field here this afternoon.
Well, Ricky Jackson played that one well. He kept that tight end to the inside or to the outside and shallow of him, and they'll give him 2 yards anytime they want to complete a pass for 2 yards. Ricky Jackson says take it.
2nd and 8. Right to throw again. For Ellerson, complete inside the 35-yard line near the 34, and that'll be enough for the first down. A 12-yard gain right to Ellerson.
That time Ellerson went down and to the outside, and Randy Wright, see, he's looking to the right. Now he looks at the left at the last second over here, and that's what really makes a difference in a completion. You got to look down the field and look off, and it was too late for Tolles to do anything about it, as Gary Ellison, playing on a sore ankle, doing a nice job, being forced to play a lot more than expected because of the injury to Davis.
From the 33 of the Saints, play action. Right again, knocked down, but it'll be incomplete. James Haynes got a hand on that one, the young man who intercepted a pass in the first half and ran it back for a touchdown.
That was really a saving play because Lofton was wide open. He would have had a 12-yard completion there. So some individual plays by these New Orleans Saints are making the difference right now, because we have the Packers in a 2nd and long situation, and the Saints have a 4-man rush now. 4 linemen. They're in a nickel.
Right to throw on 2nd and 10. Downfield, all for Lofton. And he was open, and the ball was there, but would he have been able to stay in had he even caught it? And he didn't. Johnny Poe on the coverage.
A nice recovery by Johnny Poe, because Lofton had dipped outside of him. It had been open, so he has a couple of yards on him, and Johnny Poe comes back as the pass was a little bit short, and he gives him the hit. I'm not sure he would have gotten both feet in anyway.
Yeah, the ball was thrown a little bit to his outside shoulder. Had it been a little bit over the middle,
right,
Lofton may have had 6 on that one.
That's right. He got a couple of steps on Poe. These Saints defensive backs, the cornerbacks, are called upon much more this year than in past years for one-on-one coverage.
The Packers better do it now, John. 3rd and 10. The ball's on the 33, out of the shotgun, and he bounces it. Reacts and gets it down to Lofton. Great composure by Randy Wright. And that'll be a first down for the Packers. That's good improvising. Never seen a ball bounce like that. He dribbled that thing. 13-yard pickup.
He sure did. And Wilkes got across the line of scrimmage there, and he was so frustrated. He figured he had Wright in trouble, and Wright got the pass off, and for the completion to James Lofton. And
but don't get too excited.
Oh, there's a penalty
flag down that we didn't see, and they're going to bring it back, it looks like.
Well, we didn't hear the official on the call. Would you give it to us again, please? Well, the sum result is that the play is no good for the Packers, and
that was illegal motion. Right, on Walter Stanley, number 87. So it'll make it 3rd and 15 now as the Packers continue to stymie themselves with mistakes. Out of the shotgun. Right for Epps. Oh, it was complete, but just taken away by Johnny Poe on a great hit. Epps had it, but Poe's hit took it away.
And that was a monster hit. Johnny Poe, give him an A for effort and for collision, because Epps went up and appeared to have made a nice catch. And here comes Poe. Actually, he was in the process of dropping a little bit before Poe got there, but Poe made sure of it.
He didn't have real good control of it, and certainly wasn't going to after that hit. The Packers will go again here on 4th down. 6 defensive backs. The Packers are out of the shotgun. Big pressure from Bruce Clark, and Clark makes the hit on Wright, and the ball falls harmlessly at the 35. Bruce Clark. A big 4th down play for the Saints defense.
It was Alan Weingrad was the tackle on that side, and he got around and just kept coming on the pressure and made the key play.
And they knew he had a tough one over there in Clark, but
watch the right side of your screen as he gets around Weingrad, 73, and puts the hit on Randy Wright, and the Saints stop a key drive for the Green Bay Packers.
And he's done a pretty good job the rest of it seems, Johnny, because we haven't called Bruce Clark that much. 1st and 10 for the Saints. Hilliard again.
Mossy Cade on the tackle, but it was Randy Scott. Well, he's smelling that offside line pulling across there, and Scott, 55, gets right across the line of scrimmage. That play may not work anymore for New Orleans. It's the way Randy Scott is playing it. He didn't play. He's been hurt.
They see that play so much anymore because most teams are running it.
Well, the Saints have a play where they fake that and then roll the quarterback, Hebert, out the other way, as Dallas is really doing a job on Detroit. The Giants lead San Diego 10-7. Raiders over Washington.
Second and 10 from the 38. Eric Martin in motion. It's play action by Hebert. He's in trouble. Steps up to throw, and it's incomplete, but he may be called in the grab. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the New Orleans Saints and the National Football League is prohibited.
There's Bruce Clark, and we want to give some credit to Alfonso Carricker. He's the one that put the pressure on that last play.
6 minutes, 34 seconds left here. We're in the 3rd period. 24-3 is our score. Saints over the Packers. 3rd down, 10 to go. Ball on the 38-yard line of the Saints. Jordan and Mays are the running backs. Behind Hebert, the quarterback.
No blitz.
Hebert escapes right. Be careful. He's hit from behind by Tim Harris, number 97, who has put good pressure on a couple times today.
So Tim Harris, they flushed Hebert out of the pocket, and Harris kept up his pursuit. Here comes, you can see 97 there being blocked by Stan Brock. 97. Now Hebert gets out, but Harris does not give up. He gets away from him once. He keeps after him, and boom, the ruling was that his hand had gone forward on that, and that was a pass.
Harris was a down lineman at Memphis State. They drafted him as a linebacker, but he's much more comfortable in that down position, as you saw. Hansen gets this away. Walter Stanley back for the Packers. Fair catch at the 24-yard line. Did he have his hand up, John? It looked to me like he had his hand up. But I guess not. Because if he did have his hand up, that should have been a penalty. 38-yard punt, no return. 24-3, as you see, 6:17 left in the 3rd quarter. The Packers will take over now the ball on the 24-yard line. They have not had good field position to start almost any of their drives today. They have average possession with a 26-yard line. Ellerson and Ellis in the backfield. Randy Wright to throw. Looking for Epps. Complete across the 40. And Johnny Poe will stop him there. An 18-yard pickup, but good for a 1st down.
And that's what you call nice precision passing. There was no pass rush. Epps went down the field 18 yards. That's called a deep out. Poe was way off of him, and that is a long pass. It doesn't seem like a long pass, but you take the quarterback way over there on kind of on the other side of the field, throwing an 18-yard out across the field, and so that was very nice timing.
Forrest Gregg says he has a big league arm.
He has a strong arm, Randy Wright. There's no question about that.
1st and 10 now from the 42. Right to throw again. The blitz is on. He has to unload, and it's incomplete. That was Sam Mills, number 51, who was perhaps the best linebacker in the USFL. Played for the Philadelphia Baltimore Stars for Jim Mora. Signals on the sideline. Robbie Bosco sends signals in. Couldn't get that one in time. Now they're sending a guy in. They're signaling on the sideline. Sometimes they'll signal a fake as they send a guy in just to confuse the defense and perhaps anybody that's picking it up. They've got all kinds of options over there.
That's right. They have 2 signalers, and they send somebody in. Forrest Gregg doesn't want anybody to steal the signal. So
2nd and 10. 3 wide receivers now for the Packers. It's a draw. And Ellis has good yardage near the 1st down before Johnny Poe comes up from his cornerback spot, put on the stops. George Sefcik is the quarterback coach. He is on the headset with Forrest Gregg. As we said, it's committee. They're checking out to see the mark, to see where the ball will be spotted before to decide, and Forrest is going to send this one in with Ed West, Mark Lewis, and Dan Ross all tied in. So obviously they were short of the 1st down.
Well, they probably sent a play with each one of them and make sure nobody steals the signals. But anyway, getting back to that last play, that was a nice run by Gary Ellis, who's now 6th on the all-time rushing list for the Green Bay Packers.
Ellerson behind Hallstrom. Good block, good cut. And they'll get the 1st down with 20 to spare. Frank Wadley coming up from safety.
Johnny Poe, number 25 for the Saints, says to Hallstrom, we have to quit meeting like this. Here comes, you're going to see 25 coming across here. Here comes 65 Hallstrom. And Poe says, knock it off, would you? So finally, Ellerson turns up the field, gets some nice yardage as the Packers are showing signs of a little drive here.
A good tough run that time by Ellerson. He ran over the linebacker. Tolles put him on his numbers, and he comes trotting off. So it's Jesse Clark in there now, along with Gary Ellis, the running back spot. Right in trouble, moves up, gets it to Epps across the 30, complete, and a 1st down. 18-yard gain. Johnny Poe defensively.
And that's what Forrest Gregg wants to see from Randy Wright. The pocket collapsed around him. What did Wright do? He moved forward in the pocket very nicely, a la Fran Tarkington, and then threw to Epps on the run. This time he caught the high pass, takes the hit from Poe, did not cough up the football, and the Packers are down to the 28-yard line.
We've got 4 minutes and 24 seconds to play. The clock is moving. 3rd quarter here in the Superdome. Wayne Walker with Johnny Morris. The Saints lead at 24-3. All those points coming in the 1st half. Right again on 1st and 10. It's complete. It'll be short of the 1st down. Dave Waymer defensively over there on Epps again.
Boy, you could see Waymer bearing down there. He was almost going to go for the interception. He was a fraction late, as the timing on the pass was a fraction late, because you had them standing there waiting for the pass from Wright. But Randy Wright is looking much better. And
coming back a little, isn't he, after that horrendous start?
That's right. And also he had to go through the frustration of being taken right out of a game and benched just like that, which obviously shows that the coach wants to make a change. Now he's back in, and so now he's getting the confidence builder here.
He's 8 of 18. Complete over the middle to Clark. And that'll have the 1st down. Alvin Tolles making the stop from his linebacker spot. Make it 9 of 19 now for Randy Wright.
Randy said, thank you for putting me in, Coach, but he didn't say thank you for this, because after he passes, oh, that's not too bad.
No, they do worse than that in the NBA.
Yeah, that's right.
Stay up, Randy.
Get that outside in the touch football game.
Touch football team that he coaches. He coaches the touch football team in 8th grade. 1st and 10. from the 11. The toss to Ellerson, and he has a problem with it. He'll still pick up a yard or two. Good job defensively. Mills, 51. Russell Gary, number 20. Good team defense by the Saints.
Okay, we'll look at it from how the other players react from the other side of the field. See people coming down the pursuit because you never know when he's going to cut back, when Ellison may decide to cut back, and so they had pretty good pursuit there.
2:19. 2nd and 8 from the 9. Right to throw for the tight end West, but throws it behind him and over him as he was covered by the linebacker. It was the right man to go to.
Yes, but West looked right, turned his head right, and the ball came back over on the left side.
Alvin Tolles, number 54, was in the coverage on West.
Okay, you can see 86 going straight down the field. He dipped to the outside, looked back to the right, and really kind of changed up on the right. It looked like he crossed the quarterback up a little bit because he had turned, dipped to the left, looked to the left, and just as Wright released the ball, he went to the right.
Could have been 6, Johnny. 3rd and 8 now. 5 defensive backs for the Saints. 1 remaining back for the Packers. Right again. That's Lofton. A good play by Waymer out in the flat, and Lofton will be way short of the first down, pick up perhaps a yard or two.
Big decision for Forrest Gregg. 4th down. Is he going to settle for a 3-point field goal, or is he going to say, I'm down 24-3, let's go for it and get back in this football game?
Tell by the look on his face, he's going to go for it.
Yep, he is, because I don't see anybody else coming on the football field, and he's got to get the first down. They have to get to about the 1-yard line for a first down.
They can still get a first down without getting in the end zone. 4th and 7. Ball is on the 8. Blitz. Roll out right to get away from it, and did. Touchdown, Packers. James Lofton. Oh, James Lofton, they had the right play call, Johnny. The rollout to get away from the blitz, and Lofton was open. First throw.
Exactly right, and they must have sensed it because Wright ran away from the blitz on the rollout, and the blitz came from the left side. Had the Saints been blitzing from the other side, it might have been a different story. Forrest Gregg, does he get excited about this game? That's why he was a great football player. I mean, he's still down 24-10 if they make this extra point, but he knows and thinks that it's not over yet.
It's not, but they need something else quick. Del Greco with the point. It's good. And the Packers are in double figures.
But anyway, I was making the point that the Saints blitz from the backside of the quarterback. So you'd think they'd try and put the blitz in from the side he may roll to.
Ruben Mays has it on the 10. Takes the roller out to the 20-yard line, to the 25, and near the 26. And now let's go for an NFL Today report to Brent Musburger in New York.
Well, Wayne, the Bears are finally on the board against Buddy Ryan. With the Fridge, William Perry leading the way. Walter Payton dives in for his 100th career rushing touchdown. The Fridge forced a fumble, and that set up this touchdown. 7-3 Bears. Back to Wayne and Johnny.
Boy, all kinds of milestones today for Walter Payton. Over 15,000 yards and 100 career touchdowns.
And the refrigerator, William Perry, is the man that Buddy Ryan said was a wasted draft pick. Remember way back when? Well, it's not working out that way today. He also forced that fumble, as Brent said.
Buford Jordan, Dalton Hilliard in the backfield with Bobby Hebert. 1st and 10. Swings it out to Hobie Brenner as tight end. Pick up about 5 over the middle before John Dorsey makes the hit. The Packer drive, 11 plays, 76 yards, 5 minutes it took, culminated by that touchdown pass right to Lofton. And head coaches, especially a guy that played the offensive line, like those kind of 11-play drives, although he'd like to score a lot quicker than that in this one because they do trail.
Lofton has quite a few passes. We'll have to check how many he's caught today. He's getting up there.
That was a pickup of 7 on that pass. 2nd and 3 now. Buford Jordan. And he'll have the first down for New Orleans. Across the 40. Before Tom Flynn, who has made a lot of hits today from the safety spot, comes up and makes the stop. Flynn and Mossy Cade, the two safeties, as you look at Forrest, unhappy about something. Probably unhappy about the play of his defensive line when the safeties make all those tackles. They're not playing good up front. You see the time winding down in the third quarter. Away from tying up this ball game, 24-10 as we start the third period. Bobby Hebert to Eugene Goodlow, near first down yardage, but it'll be short. He hasn't looked at Goodlow much today, Johnny.
No, he hasn't. It'd be good for Goodlow to get one under his belt. As you look at the yardage situation, total yards first half and second half, we have two different football games. So you can see that Green Bay is starting to make an impression here. So we come up to another critical drive. The New Orleans Saints want to get on the board this one just to kind of stifle anything that Green Bay may have done to this point in the second half.
After a pickup of 7, it's 2nd and 3 now from the 48-yard line. Hebert with Reuben Mays behind him. The handoff to Mays. The rookie breaks 2 tackles and drives forward past the 40. Near the 38-yard line. Easy first down yardage before he's hit by Mossy Cade. Tough running by the rookie running back from Washington State.
Oh, it really is. Boy, they have a 1-2 punch here as Brian Noble gets kicked out, number 91. He breaks a tackle by Tom Flynn and one of the Randy Scott, and there's Tom Flynn, 41. He just runs over Scott and Flynn and goes down the field. And he actually has more speed, straightaway speed, than Hilliard has. Hilliard is considered a little bit more agile, but as far as cutting back, but he didn't need to cut back there that much, did he? He really turned it on, showed some power and speed.
Big and strong, and he holds the NCAA single-game rushing record with 357 against Oregon back in 1980. First and 10.
He's a good cornerback.
Lewis is a great one. Buford Jordan and Reuben Mays at the running back behind Bobby Hebert. Take the reverse. Reuben Mays near first down yardage, picks up about 8. He showed some speed there. Charles Martin making the tackle.
The Giants have the lead over San Diego 10-7. The Raiders 6-3. That's a low-scoring game. They're already in the fourth quarter. 6-3 over Washington. Cleveland has now taken the lead over Houston 9-7. And Buffalo's closed the gap on Cincinnati in the third quarter 21-19. Atlanta, St. Louis are also close. Chicago now 10-3 over Philadelphia.
Second and 2 from the 31 of the Packers. That's Mays. And Anderson with some penetration. John Anderson. Now for an NFL Today report. Let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Well, Johnny and Wayne, you gave the score. The story is that Buddy's defense hanging in against the Bears. 3rd and 1. Tomczak zips it out of the end zone. Ditka furious. Butler kicks a field goal. Still in the third quarter. It is 10-3. Bears over the Eagles. Let's go back to New Orleans.
Sounds like a tough one, John. Sounds like a tough one there. You knew it would be. You just had that feeling. 3rd and 3 right now for New Orleans. 3 wide receivers in there. From the 32. Hebert to throw. Maximum protection. And he overthrows Mike Jones, but there's a flag down as Mossy Cade was there defending. Cade may have draped an arm over the back of Jones.
Well, this is an interesting situation because Jones kind of came right into Cade. Tim Lewis is back in the game. We'll see what the call is.
Holding defense number 24. 5 yards, first down.
Oh, big call. Well, let's take a look at the replay on the top right of your screen. Well, we picked it up later, but he is on all over him before the ball got there. It appears to be a correct call.
Only the second penalty on the Packers this afternoon. And was that ball catchable, John?
It was close enough that a guy could make a diving catch. There's Mossy Cade, boy. Forrest Gregg likes him. He hits people.
5 yards, of course. It's good for the first down with the ball on the 27-yard line. First and 10 for New Orleans. Hebert. Brian Noble chasing him, and he hits it off anyway to Reuben Mays. Anderson on the stop downfield. Good adjustment that time by Hebert, who showed his escapability. Brian Noble was all over him.
And Noble thought he had him. He was really frustrated after that play. And so you can see that Hebert has fairly good quickness for a quarterback. Here he sees it's coming. He was going to roll that way, and he just pulls away from it there and throws the safety valve pass there, and John Anderson makes the tackle, but Mays hung on to the ball as the Saints are getting close. They're in scoring territory for at least a field goal now.
Hebert at 6'4", 215 showed his strength pulling away from Brian Noble on that one. 2nd and 7.
Packers in their 46th defense.
Buford Jordan goes nowhere. Woo. Randy Scott, big hit. You can hear that one up here.
He didn't get blocked by anybody, and so you had two freight trains going right at one another, and boom, there was a collision as the Packers went into that Chicago Bear 46 defense. They haven't used it all that much today.
Coming up next on CBS out on the West Coast, it's the San Francisco 49ers and the Los Angeles Rams. The big story there, as we've told you a couple of times today, Joe Montana is not even in the City of Angels. He's back home in San Francisco. It'll be Jeff Kemp going for the 49ers at quarterback. Mike Morosky, signed by the 49ers, would be the backup.
Matt Cord has come into the game. Some of the defensive changes they make on these situations. Ezra Johnson, a designated pass rusher, is in now.
Hebert will have a 3rd and 8 when we return. Jim Mora has made his decision on 3rd and 8 and sent it in to his team. And Johnny, they're leading 24-10. Any points now for them might strike midnight for the Packers. What do? You need the points, but you got to be a little bit careful here too.
That's right. You know, if they get 3 points out of it, the Packers would have to score 3 touchdowns to beat them. So I'd be very conservative on it because Anderson's pretty good on the field goals.
Goodlow in formation, in motion across the formation.
Blitz.
Drop play and fumble. Hebert may have gotten on it, but no, the Packers have it. Hebert had a chance at it, but the Packers have come away with the biggest break of the ball game so far for them.
They tried the inside handoff, kind of a draw play, and it didn't work. They did go conservative because they wanted to make sure they had a shot at a field goal rather than passing downfield and risking the interception, but it turned out just to go the same way. Hebert had this ball just squirted right out from under him. As Mays goes up there, you can see the blitz. They were coming right up the middle. Now, Hebert has the first shot at it, and boy, you'd think he'd have it, but it just slipped right out from underneath. And it was Carricker who recovered the ball. And the Packers got a big break down by 14 points. Alfonso's happy.
And they should get a big lift out of that. 1st and 10 now from their own 37. Right to throw with time. Is it complete? Yep, they're marking it a catch down there. A sensational catch.
Ed West.
By West, the tight end.
And he took the hit from Frank Waddle.
And there's a flag down back in the backfield.
Well, this could be a crucial penalty because West made a nice catch, took the hit from Waddle. He is injured on the play, and it appears to be something against the Packer offensive line as Dombrowski kicks the flag.
So obviously it's going to go against the play. Dan Ross is in there now at tight end. Right to throw again on 1st and 20. Screens it out. Ellerson, and he'll pick up about 10 of the 20. Frank Waddle, the safety, coming over and making a hit on Ellerson.
That was a nice play by Randy Wright, wasn't it? Because he wanted to throw the screen earlier, then he had to move forward in the pocket, which would destroy timing, and they were able to get some yardage out of it. So now they have a 2nd and 10, still passing situation.
Sometimes that works out for the best, Johnny.
Yes.
The longer you can hold it, the better a screen will work.
Right.
He picked up 11. It's 2nd and 9 for the Packers. Right again. Lofton. Wait for the call. They call it complete. Good throw, good catch on the sideline, and another Packer first down, a 19-yard pickup.
Johnny Poe was playing way off of him as they were in a man-for-man, but he was playing way off with the short coverage from the linebackers, and you can see how far Poe is from Lofton when he makes the grab and brings it down. So a wide receiver loves that. That's duck soup when a guy's playing off you that far.
One of 5 men in the history of the National Football League who has gained over 1,000 yards at least 5 times. Pretty good company. headed by Lance Allworth and Steve Largent. Largent still got his streak going. He may get some more. That's Seattle. That's Epps in motion. Right again. Can't find anyone. Tries to get a second look, rolling to the right, and does for Lofton, but a good defensive play by Waymer. Dave Waymer, and there's a flag down late. Ricky Jackson was back in that area with Lofton when the flag went down.
I don't know what the call will be, but I know that James Lofton went out of bounds before the...
Receiver was out of bounds, came back in, was the first one to touch. It's simply an incomplete pass.
Excellently viewed and spotted by an ex-wide receiver himself. Why did he go out of bounds? Ricky Jackson knock him out? Was somebody bumping him?
I think somebody bumped him out of bounds, and then when you come back on, you can't, you're not supposed to be a part of the play, but I've always disagreed with that. If you get knocked out of bounds, hey, if you get up, you got enough guts to get up and get back on the field, what the heck?
I think
I can understand why that rule is
there.
there.
For trick plays, you could just go over there and stay forever and then run out when you wanted to.
I'm just sticking up for wide receivers, that's all. They get all beat up by everybody. They can't do anything.
2nd and 10. Well, half roll out again by Wright. Comes up out of trouble. Intended for Dan Ross, and it's incomplete. Good defense. Antonio Gibson. Wayne Walker, Johnny Morris. We're at the Superdome. The Saints lead 24-10. 9:36 left to go in this game. The Saints jumped out early. The Packers have fought back with a touchdown in the second half. Saints doing all their scoring in the first half. They led 17-0 at the end of the first quarter, 24-3 at the end of the half. We said now it's 24-10, and the Packers have it 3rd down and 10 on the 43-yard line of New Orleans. Right to throw. Blitz is on. Epps makes the cut, but it's intercepted by Waymer, who has been around the ball all day. A 4th turnover of the afternoon for the Packers. Dave Waymer making the start in place of the AWOL Willie Tullis has come up with a fine game defensively this afternoon for the Saints.
At that time, the Saints put the blitz on number 50. Jack Del Rio, who was in the game, came from the backside to rush Randy Wright. He's from the backside, but actually here, the pass was thrown behind Epps, and it was not a well-thrown pass. Plus, Epps still rounded off his out pattern, but the pass was not a good one, and some pressure, I think, helped force that as Dave Waymer, the old Notre Damer, comes up with the interception.
9:30 now. You would expect New Orleans to keep it on the ground. 1st and 10 from the 24. Goodlow in motion. Alfonso Carricker is offsides, makes contact, but was he drawn?
He really took Stan Brock back on his haunches, didn't he?
Encroachment, number 76 defense, 5 yards, still 1st down.
So he was not pulled offsides. He went on his own. He figured since he was going, he might as well get his shot in.
That's what you call positive encroachment.
That's a major league infraction. He got his money's worth. Look at those fingers all taped up like that.
First and 5 now from the 29. 9:30 on the clock. That's Goodlow in motion. This is Dalton Hilliard, the rookie. And he'll be short of the 1st down. Well, a big weekend of college football coming up next week on CBS. Notre Dame and Michigan State will be going for their first wins after tough losses yesterday. Notre Dame lost to number 3 Michigan after missing a field goal with 45 seconds left. And Michigan State lost to Arizona State 2017 when they had a field goal block with 17 seconds to go. So they'll both be looking for their first win. And Dave Waymer, Notre Dame grad, had to be happy with the way the Fighting Irish performed yesterday under their brand new head coach Lou Holtz. 2nd and 3 here from the 31. I formation now for the Saints. It's Hilliard, the rookie. He's near the 1st down yardage, depending on where they mark it. Let's go now for an NFL Today report to Brent Musburger in New York.
This is the touchdown that brought the Eagles dead even with the Bears. From the shotgun, 3rd and 6. And Mike Quick, isolated one-on-one, goes in from 25 yards out. 13.5 minutes to go, but the Bears are on the move. They are down to the Eagle 30. Let's go back to Wayne.
Thank you very much, Brent. John, I know you were listening to that one, an ex-Chicago Bear and living there in Chicago. You got a lot of interest in that one.
Yeah, 10-10 ball game. We had a little extracurricular activity here while we were away, but it's all been settled out as they're going to measure for the first down.
This was Dalton Hilliard going for the first down yardage at the end of that last play. They're out there measuring now.
There's Robert Brown
and the rookie Dombrowski.
Dombrowski was in trouble. Once you lose your helmet, you got to watch out. If they swing and hit each other when you got your helmet on, you're okay because they have those big bird cages. But once your helmet's on, you better run for cover.
Okay, break and run is what you call it.
That's right. Down and out of bounds.
Enough yardage for the first down. Dallas over Detroit, holding them scoreless. The Giants beating San Diego in the fourth quarter.
Look at this one. Houston 10-9. Look at Buffalo has taken the lead over Cincinnati 26-21.
Jim Kelly putting some points on the boards for the Bills. First and 10 here now. Ball on the 34. The measurement was good for the Saints. Hilliard again. Picks up 3 or 4. John Anderson on the stop as the clock continues to run now at 7:50. New Orleans would take one of those 11-12 play drives right now and run the timeout. The Packers have to make something happen. You figure if they get them stopped here, John, make them punt, how many more times can the Packers figure to get the ball if their defense plays well?
Not too many times.
You know, maybe not more than 3 if their defense stops it here and then stops them the next time. So it is critical, as you can tell by the look on that man's face. Third and 7. Buford Jordan inside handoff, and he'll be to the 40-yard line, about 3 or 4 yards short of the first down. Robert Brown on the defensive play for the Packers.
That was a we're now third and 3 as the we're fourth down now. No, it's third down.
It's third down coming up. And it'll be about 4. He's got the headset off, Johnny. Just watching the defense out there now. He doesn't need it. And he wants to get that thing back on in the worst way and as soon as he can.
This is a must stop for the Green Bay Packers. They have got to stop them here. Otherwise, with another first down, they could eat up a lot of clock. We're down to 6:27 already. They've got to stop them here.
Third and 3. Almost at the figure pass, and it is. Hebert back. Going for Goodlow at the sideline. It's intercepted. Mark Lee, number 22, with his second interception of the season, has the Packers in business at about the 45-yard line of New Orleans, and no flags are down. The third turnover today for the Saints.
Big play for Mark Lee. He had an interception last week, and as you know, he stumbled and fell for that first Saints touchdown. He makes up for it now because he covers Goodlow but like a blanket on this play. Covers him like a good cornerback who plays tight, reacts to the ball, comes in and takes it, and the Packers now have a shot at it. And how did Forrest Gregg react? It was right there, right in front of him.
Right in front of him.
Okay, he said, let's go get them. They're on the 44-yard line of the New Orleans Saints.
Well, Bobby had a lot more smiles on his face earlier in this game than he does now. First and 10. Right to throw. Looking for Lofton, and it's broken up by Russell Gary, number 20.
Good play by Gary, but it just took the Packers too long to throw that football. They had a chance to react as Wright had to throw all the way back over across. And I think the situation is that they can throw to their tight end a little bit, the way they're dropping off now.
Jesse Clark and Gary Ellerson in there now in the backfield with Wright for the Packers. Epps and Lofton are the wide receivers, and Ross the tight end.
Blitz.
Right on second and 10. He rolls left and pulls up for Ross. It's intercepted. Russell Gary at the 25. He's up and back on his feet and out to the 35-yard line. So they trade interceptions here. The 5th turnover for Green Bay. With 5:59, New Orleans takes over again.
And that may have been the backbreaker as the Saints came up with the blitz. a little more blitzing today than they've done. And they put the pressure on Wright and forced him out of the pocket. As Forrest Gregg says, we are in trouble. And they face an 0-2 record and then have to play Green Bay play the Chicago Bears next week. So things look bad for the Packers.
Packers play the Bears next week, and then it'll be the Vikings and the Bengals for them, and things don't get any easier for the New Orleans Saints after this one. They play 3 playoff teams, or 2 rather, the San Francisco 49ers, the New York Giants, and then the Washington Redskins.
Well, I bet they don't pass the ball now.
Double tight ends. Buford Jordan, it gets nowhere as the Packers take a chance and blitz Randy Scott from his inside linebacker post, and he makes the hit.
Well, in this kind of a situation, they know that they're going to run, so they just fill all the gaps, bring those linebackers in there, and that's why sometimes it's very hard for a team trying to run the clock out to make 10 yards in 3 plays. It's difficult on these situations because the linebackers, they figure you're going to not take the chance of putting the ball in the air, and they just come filling all the holes.
You see how things have turned around. Second half possessions for New Orleans. But the Packers still trail 24-10 and need something.
Going to the air.
Ryan Noble on the blitz. First sack of the game for the Green Bay Packers, and they got it with the linebacker blitz.
Well, nobody touched him as he came through, got outside the blocking, and Noble just had a free shot at Hebert and gets the sack as the Saints' drive is a good one, but it's the wrong way.
5:11 remaining. It'll be 3rd down and 25 when the Saints snap this one.
What would you do on this one? It'd be pretty tough to call a pass down here, wouldn't it? Maybe with the clock running down, you're better off just to run the ball and eat some more clock up and punt it away. Packers have to score twice.
You've just got to make sure if you're Bobby Hebert, you just don't give it away again. 4 wide receivers, 6 defensive backs. It's a draw. Dalton Hilliard won't get much. Tempers flare some down there.
And the fans are booing a little bit, but it's smart football. You look what happened the last time they went to the air. They had the interception, and the Packers did not take advantage of it because it was intercepted back, but that's a smart call.
Brings up a 4th down. Walter Stanley will be back to receive this one for the Packers. They'll have 10 men on the line, and you can bet they'll be going after it. Here they come. Hansen gets it away, and it's a beauty. Stanley at about the 27. Breaks 2 tackles, and he's in trouble again. And he'll go down at about the 32-yard line. So good hustle. A 50-yard punt, a 6-yard return. Here's the situation, 3:56 remaining in the ball game, and Green Bay is desperate. 24-10, they trail. They need 2 touchdowns to tie this one. They need one very quickly. And then perhaps if they scored, we'd see, I would almost imagine, an onside kick. But whatever air they have in their balloon is rapidly escaping. The 34-yard line, they have the ball. 1st and 10. Wright is in there out of the shotgun formation, with Clark and Ellerson back there with him. Downfield incomplete, intended for Lofton. New Orleans Saints have stymied the Packers today with 5 interceptions. That's a team record. Dave Wadlett, Johnny Poe, James Haynes, Dave Waymer, and Russell Gary.
So they spread them around.
Up. They sure did. Past the hat. 2nd and 10 now. Ball remains on the 34. Right out of the shotgun. He's 13 for 30, 142 yards. 6 defensive backs for the Saints. For Epps, deep. And it's overthrown. Epps had a step on Dave Waymer down the sideline, but the ball was a touch overthrown.
Actually, when he turned his head around, the ball was already on its way, and he didn't turn on that burst of speed, so a little bit too late. But it's tough to complete passes now in this kind of a situation. But Epps actually got a step and a half, and usually with 3 minutes to go or something like that, you don't get behind anybody.
That's exactly right. I was surprised to look down there that Waymer wasn't back there about 20 yards waiting for him to get there. Epps is known as one of the fastest men in the National Football League. In fact, he finished second in that 60-yard dash, the NFL's fastest men. 3rd and 10 now. Right out of the pocket. Steps up and gets it to Walter Stanley. It'll be good for a first down across midfield to perhaps the 47-yard line. 3:35 on the clock and moving, as you see, and the Packers will hurry it up. 20-yard pickup.
There you saw the strength in Wright's arm. He really drilled that one to Stanley. Nice play.
The Saints have loosened up now on defense. Their safeties are about 15, 20 yards deep. Intended throw right there. Ricky Jackson will pick it off as Wright threw it down the middle with nothing on it. 6 interceptions as they continue to add now to the team record.
And look at Ricky Jackson. I'll tell you what, he hit the turf pretty early on that interception, but he got the interception, figured that's the game, and he isn't going to take a hit from somebody. But Randy Wright had his ups and downs throughout this game. Some nice passes. Here's 57 at the bottom of your screen. And you can see that Wright was not pressured all that much until the last second, and he's just a lot of dark jerseys around there. Watch Jackson. If I talk about being aggressive, but that's all right. He still played a good game, and the Saints are in good shape.
He got the pick, and he wanted to celebrate, and here it is.
So that's 6 different players have interceptions for the New Orleans Saints. That covers just about everybody on the defense, the linebackers and the defensive backs.
Well, the Saints now will try to sit on it with 3:13 left. Watch the pressure now coming from the left side, as you mentioned, Johnny. He stepped up and got away from it, but he threw for James Lofton, and it was Lofton and 3 dark-shirted Saints there. It was not a wise throw. You take the sack or step up and take the hit in that situation. 1st and 10. Ball is on the 37-yard line. Double tight ends in there. That's Tice, one of them on the move. Dalton Hilliard, the rookie, will pick up about 3 or 4.
I think that this situation for the Green Bay Packers now is very desperate. They're not going to win this football game. They are going to be 0-2, and they've lost both games pretty handily. I mean, this is going to be a 14-point game. They got beat right out of the gate here. So Forrest Gregg, I had mentioned to him the other day that you made a lot of changes. He said, if we lose again, you ain't seen nothing yet. So we can maybe expect more changes for the Green Bay Packers, but
Johnny, you mentioned at the top of our telecast that the critical area was the quarterback spot, and Green Bay hasn't solved any of that in this ball game. New Orleans perhaps has. The toss to Hilliard, and he'll go down with no gain right near the line of scrimmage, and they'll bring up a 3rd down situation.
The Packers call a timeout, and here's a team that's won more National Football League championships than anybody else. 11 NFL championships, even more than the Chicago Bears. And it's been a long time. Most of those came, as you know, back in the 60s when Forrest was a player, and earlier than that, back in the 30s and 40s. So,
you know, Johnny said they needed an attitude change. They had 2 straight seasons at 8-8, and needed an attitude change. He said, I sacrificed experience for athletes. I've got some young guys here who in the long run will be better. They don't have the experience right now, and he knows he's in a transition stage, but I know that he thought that they'd play a little bit better than they have been.
He thinks they'll have a good second half of the year, but, you know, a lot of times that's too late for a season. But with those new changes, he expects some adjustments to be made.
This guy last week said there's not a thing I feel good about when he looked at his team's game films against the Atlanta Falcons. He said, we're not as good as I thought we might be, and one of the reasons he felt that way was because of past drafts they've had here in New Orleans. But he's got to feel a lot better today. He's going to pick up his first NFL coaching win after 2 titles in the USFL, and he had his team, the Philadelphia Baltimore Stars, to 3 title games over there. So he's proven as a pro coach and gets his first NFL win here today.
He had a great record in the USFL, something like 48-12 or whatever it was, and he's changed the offense. Everybody knows what Bum Phillips' offense was, and they felt there had to be a change, and it's more varied. It's even more conservative, but it's varied. Different formations every time out.
Let's see the Green Bay misfortunes. Buford Jordan and Dalton Hilliard in the backfield with Bobby Hebert.
Blitz.
Fumble. And the Packers will have it at the 25-yard line. Ezra Johnson, number 90. A big right defensive end in there on the hit.
Let's hear the call here. This is
Offside.
Oh,
Middle
boy.
guard on the defense. 5 yards.
You know what they call those penalties? Coach killers.
Boy, that was a killer as far as Green Bay is concerned, and you got to be a little bit surprised here on the situation with there's the offsides right over the center. That's Charles Martin, isn't it? But what the heck are they throwing the football for?
That surprised me.
That's you asking for stuff like this when you're leading by 14 points with 2 minutes to go. I know it's 3rd and 10 or whatever it was, but you don't throw the football. That's crazy.
And we're coming up to the 2-minute warning. 24-10. Same you, Johnny. We won't see another one of those play-action passes this down.
I don't think so.
One time is enough for him. 24-10, and there's exactly 2 minutes left to go in this one. They've just got to sit on it if they can. Buford Jordan, Dalton Hilliard with Bobby Hebert in the New Orleans backfield. Double tight ends. The Packers will be blitzing, and they are. Jordan gets the call and picks up a yard or two. Let's now go to New York for an NFL Today report and Brent Musburger.
Well, Wayne, Buddy Ryan and the Eagles with a chance. Late going in the 4th quarter, and the Bears come up with a Walter Payton option pass, but it's intercepted by Waters, his 2nd interception for the Eagles. Ron Jaworski has Buddy Ryan's team on the move, tied at 10, a little over 5 minutes to go. Back to Wayne and Johnny.
Well, and they've got McFadden, the young field goal kicker, who's got good range and is really solid and consistent as a kicker on that Philadelphia side. So, John, it's going down to the wire.
Actually, no matter who wins that game now, that's a major upset for the Eagles, who are underdogs by 17 points. It's a major victory in that respect for Buddy Ryan to turn that team around after losing to Washington and play the vaunted Chicago Bears like that.
We intimated earlier that Jim Mora had expressed some dissatisfaction about recent drafts, previous drafts by New Orleans, and you can see by those yellow numbers, the yellow letters, those people are all gone. #1 draft picks in the last few years. George Rogers traded, Lindsey Scott cut. 84 went for Richard Todd, 85 went for Earl Campbell. Alvin Tolles was the #1 draft choice in 85. He gets very little playing time. 4th down situation now, punting situation. Brian Hansen in there for the Saints. Walter Stanley deep for the Packers at about his 16-yard line. Hansen, one of the league's best. Pro Bowler 2 years ago. He gets a rocket. This will drive Stanley back, and he won't even try to field it. It bounces up and into the end zone and be ruled a touchback. And the Packers will start 80 yards from the end zone. And we've got 1:45 remaining in this ball game. A 57-yard punt. No return. Starts George C. Scott as he returns to the role of George Patton.
I'm going to watch tonight.
You're going to watch Patton for sure, I know. Right to Lofton. Complete but short of the 1st down. The Packers with 1 first down remaining will try to get to the line of scrimmage and hurry it up. Lofton 8 catches today for 99 yards and 1 touchdown. Second and 2. Right out of the shotgun. New Orleans extremely loose on defense, as you might imagine. Almost intercepted again, intended for Lofton. Van Jakes, number 22, cut in front. Steve DeBerg threw 7 interceptions last week. We almost saw our 7th interception here today. Steve DeBerg threw that for Tampa Bay against the 49ers last week.
Boy, some of those scores. Did you see that Dallas score? It was 31-0 over Detroit. Your old Lion team having a tough time.
Started out with a win at Minnesota, but you figured it would be in trouble against Dallas. A minute 15 to go. Right out of the shotgun. He's got pressure, but gets rid of it. It's almost intercepted again. Antonio Gibson, number 27. Gibson was the very first USFL player signed by the NFL. Great-looking athlete, about 6'3", 190 pounds, and they like him a lot here in New Orleans. Coming up next, for most of you, it's the 49ers and the Rams, and if it follows past scripts, it'll be a dandy. They don't like each other. They know they're the teams that they have to beat in that NFC West, and they really get after it. Some of you will see Minnesota against Tampa Bay. And Minnesota with their new head coach Jerry Burns looking for his first win. An out pattern to Walter Stanley. Did he get out of bounds to stop the clock?
No.
Russell Gary on the defensive play.
You know, at the few breaks, the Saints could have had about 9 or 10 interceptions today if they'd have hung on to a few of them. I'm going to look up what the record in the NFL for interceptions in a game is. I don't know where I could find that.
That was enough for the 1st and 10. Wright throwing again, and it's over the head of Philip Epps. What do you think this will do to him, John, having this kind of performance? Number one, getting up to such a rocky start and being benched for a while as Ferragamo came in and throwing the interceptions. He's a young guy. What's it going to do to his psyche?
Well, they got the Bears coming up next, but the thing was, he was out of the game early. Saints jumped out, so he played under trying circumstances this whole game. In other words, it's hard to be a quarterback. I don't care who you are. When you're down 17, 20 points and they're teeing off on you and playing various defenses, it's tough. So he got behind. His team got behind so quickly that it's hard to judge.
On 2nd and 10, he gets it out to Jesse Clark, and there's a flag down on the far side. 34 seconds remaining to play in this one. And it's an amazing thing down here with this New Orleans Saints team, John. If they would ever win, this town would go bonkers.
That's right. They've never had a winning season. I guess their best is 8-8.
A great football area with Tulane and LSU. You couldn't go anywhere yesterday that you didn't hear cheers coming out of saloons and hotel rooms because everybody was locked into watching those teams.
This was the site, of course, last year of the Super Bowl when the Bears beat the New England Patriots. Beautiful stadium. Looks like a big marshmallow from the outside, doesn't it?
It looks like the mothership, you know. In Third Encounters or Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I think that was the title of that movie.
Offside, defense, number 94. Penalty is declined. 3rd down.
Well, it'll be a long flight home for the Green Bay Packers.
It's the only thing that good can come out of this was the fact that they performed a little bit better in the second half than they have in the other 6 quarters that they've played this year. If you can hang your hat on that, it's going to be tough, as you said. 3rd and 1 we've got. Right to throw. For the 1st down to Clark across midfield, and he'll be pulled down at about the 47-yard line by a number of Saints led by Van Jakes. Ricky Jackson in there along with him.
Well, I think that Randy Wright has shown, whereas Wright has had to throw it up 40 times with everybody expecting pass.
Hebert threw it only 6 times in the first half when the game was really on the line. 27 ticks remaining on the clock. 1st and 10 for the Packers, just across midfield. Wright again under pressure. Frank Warren, number 73, makes the hit. As the flag's down now. I think they'll call that an incomplete pass. Looked like his arm was going forward. Let's see.
There's more flags down there than people. There's a lot of them as the ball got away. And it'll take them a while to unwind this one.
Boy, this is really cleanup time for defensive linemen.
2 minutes left in this football game, Philadelphia and Chicago. There's 2 minutes left, and the Eagles are in Chicago territory.
Caught the ball behind the sign. It is simply a loss of down. 2nd down.
You heard the call from the official, and we'll try to keep you updated as much as we can in the short time we have left on that Philadelphia-Chicago game, but you'll get a full report on that one during halftime. The San Francisco-Los Angeles Rams game, which most of you will see following this one. Some of you will be seeing Minnesota and Tampa Bay. You'll also get a report. But the Eagles have got McFadden, who already kicked a 40-yard field goal in that game, John. 18 seconds right out of the shotgun. It's 2nd and 10. On the move for Clark. And it's incomplete, out of bounds.
This is a long 2 minutes.
You know what? The defensive linemen would like to stay out there about 2 more minutes in this situation. They don't have anything to worry about except rushing a passer. Lay those ears back and get after him. That's really cleanup time for them. It's the worst time for the offensive line.
Well, Jim Mora got to give him credit. He brought this team back after, and this whole city was on his case last week, on this team's case. They were really on him. And everybody had the paper bags over their heads at the end of the year. This Jim Moore, what's going on? He's supposed to be great. Well, got to give him a little time. He's a winner.
Right for Ellis. In and out of his hands around the 20-yard line. Another incompletion. 5 seconds remaining, and it'll bring up a 4th down for the Packers. Randy Wright and the Packers with perhaps one last chance here to get on the scoreboard, but if they do, it's really to no avail, trailing 24-10. As the game, except for a few moments here in the second half, about midway through the second half, has been totally dominated by the Saints. Packers just could not get much going.
And now they'll face the Chicago Bears, and that Bear-Packer game last year up in Green Bay was probably the roughest football game I ever saw. If the Bears happen to lose today, boy, they'll be fuming mad. So the Packers got their work cut out for them.
They almost always are rough. It's thrown up, and it's intercepted once more by the Saints. A fitting way, perhaps, to end this one. No time left on the clock. 7 of them today for the New Orleans Saints. That was Dave Waymer. That was number 2 for him. But there is a flag down on the field. And if it's a defensive penalty, we may go again.
The game is over.
The game is over. Once again, the final score, New Orleans 24, Green Bay 10.